Then we're live. So we're live. So we have to wait for the spinning to stop. So we just have our conversation and we're here live for everybody. So we're live, guys. And I tell you, we are Jimmy and Joe here. We're bringing an awesome interview today. We have Justice Roberts here with us today. He's one of our top producing branches, top producing loan officers in PRMG in our company. And so we're bringing him here to you today to just share a little bit of knowledge of how you do it, how you're able to be as successful as you are, and some of your best practices, and just bring you on. And you're overall just an awesome dude. I think people just need to get to know you a little bit. But we just wanted to bring you out here, share some of your knowledge on our shows. We try to keep them straight and to the point and quick, no fluff. So that's why Jimmy's here to keep me under control. And so we'll roll right into it. I just want to start out really quick and just say thanks for coming on. And you're such a busy guy, and it's amazing that you're a one-man show there with your team around you, and you're still like one of the number one branches in the area. Like I've seen number one branches that are a group of people. You're doing this by yourself, so it's pretty amazing. And Jimmy, you got a couple questions, I think.
It's really amazing. For those of you that don't know of Justice Roberts, he's out in the beautiful state of Washington, and he's been in the business since 2013, and he started, like many top originators, as an LOA with, in this case, Pinnacle Capital Mortgage, and you've grown your business. Justice, tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe why you got into the business and how you ended up into this wonderful world of helping people get homes.
That's great. Well, first, just to start off, Joe, Jimmy, it's so fun to get out and, talk about, what most people's favorite topic is themselves. So anyway, so I'm excited to be here with you guys, but I appreciate the question. You're right. I did get into the business in 2013 as an LOA. Really growing up, I was very entrepreneurial, wanted to get into business in some form or fashion, and really just there were a couple people just in different groups that I was in that were real estate agents. They were making it happen. They were investing, and so I was like, I want to be a real estate agent. This is what I want to do, and didn't really know how I was going to transition into that. I was working in IT for, contracted to Boeing. At that time, it's kind of interesting. The mortgage industry, I've actually found several people that have made the transition from IT to mortgage. But anyway, I had a buddy that was in the business as an LOA, and he was going back to school in Boston, and he was like, "Hey, I'm out." And I said, who's taking your job? They're like, they don't really have it figured out yet. And I was like, well, mortgage, real estate, it's kind of close. And so I said, set an interview for me. I started 2 weeks later and really just jumped right in. Still was planning on transitioning out of mortgage into real estate, but just found out that I guess mortgage was the right fit. Really enjoyed serving people and, the whole how mortgages work and how it's just no one mortgage is the same, no one family is the same, and kind of just figuring out how to solve problems and work with all of the different variables and put things together. So in 2015, after I was a LOA, I fully transitioned into full-time sales as an originator, and then things kind of just took off from there.
Awesome. So now that you've been doing it for a while and you've seen, your production grow, and you've gotten, like I always think, now that you know the music and the rhythm and the beat, every loan is different, every customer is different. But what would you say are some of your biggest struggles now that you've been up and running and you're at a different level than you were, as an LOA? What are some of the struggles that you have on a daily basis?
Man, I think the bigger problems that we begin to solve in all of us develop this at some point. It comes down to management, leadership, and really being able to duplicate yourself, duplicate your process, duplicate the conversations that you have with people. As you continue to grow and scale, you're not able to do everything and continue to keep growing. When you start out as a loan officer, you wear every single hat that there is to wear. You collect every single condition, you send every single email. And when you bring other individuals on, you bring on your first assistant, you bring on your first processor, marketing assistant. How do you have the continuity as far as, you know, conversations with your people, how do you instill your values in them? And, you know, I think that's the challenge, you know, and as one of my favorite quotes that I will say in our office all the time is, we're paid in proportion to the problems that we're able to solve. And so really just this mindset, no matter what it is that you're up against, if you are able to solve that problem, you're going to be paid in proportion to that. So learning and embracing those challenges as opportunities to grow and to be a better person, to be a more well-rounded professional, and grow as a leader. So that's what I found.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that you've been very cautious maybe about who you brought onto the team to make sure they could duplicate who you are and making sure that your team really acts as one. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. As far as the people that we bring on, honestly, like with the customers that I serve, like it's my livelihood. It's my craft. It's what I've spent years working to perfect and build those relationships and all of that. And, you know, nobody's going to be as into your business as you are. That there's a baseline of that for sure. At the same time, are you bringing on people who share similar values with you? Do they have the same beliefs about who people are? Do they have the same beliefs about taking care of people and serving and caring for them like you do? And if you have some of those minimum benchmarks, then you can teach them. You can teach them mortgage, and definitely other things that I've been learning and am still in the process of learning is putting people on the right seat on the bus, you know, based off of their natural tendencies, their personalities. I use the DISC assessment quite a bit for people that we bring on board, just to identify, you know, what seat on the bus they should be sitting on.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. That's really good info.
That's great.
Yeah, DISC is a huge thing, because I've seen big benefits in that, because it's amazing. And the questions that the DISC asks are so off the wall, but it when I took it, I was like, this thing is not even going to figure. It doesn't make any sense. And then when I looked at the results, I was like, oh wow, this thing knew me. This thing definitely knew me. It's a good way to actually take a DISC for yourself to kind of just help identify yourself a little bit. You know, some self-awareness is always good to have.
Absolutely. Yeah. I probably take it every 6 months just to like look at myself. What I have noticed is, depending on where your focus and your activities are. When I first got into the business, I actually didn't know that I was good at sales. Didn't even know that I really enjoyed being around people. My I on the DISC assessment was very low, probably started out as like a 30. And then after a lot of prospecting, talking with real estate agents, talking with clients, and really wanting to connect with them, like my 30 grew to an 80 in about 6 months. And I was like, wow, I just like found out who I was. I love hanging out around people. This is great. So,
well, you know, that's one of the things that I think people misunderstand coming into the business, that it's more of a relationship business and helping people. Absolutely. And having them understand what, you know, how you can help them, and really listening more than talking than sales. You know, people think sales is talking all the time, but it's really getting to know and listening. Would you agree on that?
100%. I think the more that we listen, the more that we actually listen, not just to the words, but to what actually people are trying to say with their words, gives you the ability to actually solve a problem for them. And in so, like, I'm not selling you, I'm just solving a problem.
Yeah. We are definitely problem solvers.
Right.
We solve them every day.
You know, in terms of, you know, relationships, you know, you have relationships with your borrowers, with realtors, and then a lot of people don't realize that you also end up having a relationship with your community. And I know you started something called Give Back with Team Justice to really help your community. Can you tell us a little bit about, you know, Give Back with Team Justice?
Absolutely. Well, kind of at the end of last year, so the city I live in is Puyallup, and I lived in Puyallup my entire life and really invested in my church, invested in our community, small business and stuff like that. So I have a big heart for that. And I got to the end of last year and we had helped a ton of different families, and I realized that there was just kind of like a little bit of a void where I was like, man, I want to be able to do something more, be able to do something that's actually going to be impacting the people in the communities that we live in and that we serve, and wanted to do something practical where it was actually going to be helping, and something where I could also encourage other people to do the same and to invest in the communities that they are living in. So one of the things we launched this year was called Give Back with Team Justice, where on behalf of the client, we donate $250 to a charity of their choosing. We found 4 local charities here that they can pick who it is that they'd like to have those funds go to. But with that, also, we give them a lot of information about the charity so they can pick who it is. And our hope is that people become more aware of these charities, but also if they're choosing to give to that charity, that they may either want to find out more about it, give some of their time, resources, and any of that, just to know what's going on in their community. And I just figure, what more could we do? And it's kind of a really selfish thing. It's like, way more blessed to give than to receive. And so I feel really honored the fact that we get to give into our community and connect with some really cool people, but actually just do something that's really practical. So that's a cool way for us to do that. I also thought that it's a different way for us to differentiate ourselves and have a different conversation, both with real estate agents and with clients. In our market, like, there's a lot of things where people talk about price, so they talk about all of these different things that is how people make decisions, where the people that I really want to work with actually have a value for these types of things as well. Mm-hmm. And if I can differentiate and create a different conversation, which is, hey, and by the way, like, this is one of the things that we do as a benefit of you working mm-hmm. with me, this is what you get. And I want people to know that this is the type of person that they're working with, and also be attracted to go, hey, like, I would love to do that in my business, or I would love to do that. And I see a value for that. So it's part of also attracting the type of people that I want to work with, or other people that have those similar values.
That's a huge thing. I mean, when just a curious, when someone reaches out to do a loan with you, they come through a realtor, or do they directly connect with you? How's your process work?
So how our process works right now, I will be the first person, more than likely, that people will connect with when referred by a real estate agent or a past client, or however, very front facing with our clients. Because of how our process works, typically I'll connect with them all the way up to the application. I'll be their primary point of contact. And then the rest of our team works to collect the documents and then move them through the pre-approval process. And there's a few key points where I also will reach out, have some different conversations with them, or big congratulations. But typically connecting with them at first, and then overseeing through the process, but trusting my team to kind of walk them through the rest of the process is kind of how we have things set up right now.
Got it. Okay. So it kind of keeps you in a flow where you're constantly making sure the new clients are coming in, you got your thumb on it through the process. You're there kind of like the doctor to make sure things are going like they should.
Dr. Nerds, you got it. Yep.
Making sure that thing gets to the table.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, what a great role model you have to be, and your kids have to look at you like, wow, you're Superman. I mean, what a great role model, not only for the community, but also, your family as well. So really kudos to you.
Appreciate that. I want to be somebody that my boys could be proud of. I'm a family man. I've got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old, all boys. And I want them to look at their daddy and be really proud of him. And so, yeah, I love that I get to be a dad and hopefully be a good role model for them. So I appreciate that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you one other question. What is your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal for the rest of this year? I mean, you're already knocking it dead this year. You're having a banner year, I know, in 2021. But is there something that, hey, this is a big goal that I want to attack, if not, this year, but in the future, that you're thinking, wow, anything's possible?
Yeah, so we did just under 100 million last year as far as our total production. We helped just shy of 300 families. Our target for this year is 580 families, which would be a total of 203 million is what it what our goal is. But our bigger goal beyond that is a target goal of 2 billion. And when it's so interesting when we create big goals. I love watching Joe's eyes. He's like, what?
2 billion, man, that's huge. That's awesome. That's doable though.
Well, and the thing is that when we create a target that high, what do? We force our brain to figure out and solve an entirely different equation. And so that's the problem that I'm looking to solve. And it's really like, it's not about the money. It's not about any of that. It's honestly, I'm addicted to the process of who it is that I have to be in order to accomplish a goal like that. Who are the people that I have to be able to serve? Yes, families, but also the people that are in our office. Who are the loan officers that we need to bring on? Who are the processors and underwriters? And they've got to be successful in their own right in order for us to achieve that goal. So that's where I'm most excited is who is it that Justice Roberts has to be in order to achieve that goal, and might as well set it high.
Why not? I mean, that's what I think is really cool too is like you get into business in 2013. Here we are in 2020 you hit 100 million, and 2021 your goal is at 200 million. Those are, I mean, the average loan officer is not hitting even close to that kind of number. And I mean, I know guys that have been in the business 20 to 30 years that are struggling at 10 million for the year. And so how was it, when did that change for you? Like when you got it in 2013, how did you make the shift to go from an average loan officer that's doing 10 million to 15 million to getting to the 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 to non up? What was it? Was there something that just shifted for you, that a green light that hit for you that kind of made you make that move?
So when I got into the business in 2013, I was just a loan officer assistant. So I wasn't producing anything, wasn't getting any of my own clients at that point. Now because I realized I was going to make it my industry, this was going to be my deal. Just started, looking at other people that are top performers, what's possible. Because I think one of the things we do is we put people up on a pedestal. And I think the more that I've gotten to know or be introduced to different top producers, I'm like, you're just a normal guy. Like,
I find that a lot.
You can figure it out. I mean, honestly, like this sounds maybe a little bit egotistical, so I'll maybe try to soften it a bit. But in my initial office where I worked there were people that were doing about that, maybe $1 million a month in total loan production. And I looked at them and I was like, you have no clue what you're doing. Like, you can make a great living. Like this industry gives us such great opportunity. But like, if I actually devote myself to this to become the best, like I could run circles around you. And with that, like looking at people that are producing at an average level, or even people that are producing at a much, much higher level, even than I'm at, I go, man, you have access to the exact same resources that I do. You have access to all of the anything and everything that you need. It's all about, you learning and becoming the individual that you need to be to achieve those goals. And so it just becomes the game of like, how do I improve? How do I grow? If somebody else figured out how to do it, so can I. Mm-hmm. And with that belief in mind, well, then that drives your actions, drives the habits that you put in place. It drives your, relentless pursuit of trying to figure out like, hey, they figured out how to do it, and I'm dedicated, I'm committed, I'm willing to do whatever it takes so I can do it too. Why not?
Yeah. Did you look at getting a coach, or you just kind of watched what others were doing and started taking information in from all kinds of sources and just diving into the guidelines and learning your flow and building a team? Yeah.
So at first, there was a coaching program within Keller Williams called Bold Coaching. I can't remember exactly what it is. I got this. I don't know.
Bold. Yeah. I think it's
Bold. So that was the first, like, it was like an 8-week thing that I went through. Cody Gibson was the Bold coach at that time. I have a lot of respect for him. So shout out to Cody. But anyway, we went through that coaching thing, and then I hired a coach coming right out of that. And really, it's like yes, you hire a coach, you do all of that, but really at that time where I went 100% commission, there was just a fire that was lit underneath me where I was like, this is what I have to do in order to succeed. And I don't know, it wasn't anything that I created. It was really just like, okay, game on, let's go. And we just went.
Your community you live in, you said it's kind of a small community. Is it a small community?
So like in Puyallup, they break it up into two things, but maybe 150,000 is roughly population there. But I'm just outside of Seattle. So we definitely, bigger population in the greater Seattle area for sure. So very active, lots of people, big real estate, very competitive market that's out. So there, no shortage of people.
Yeah. I was curious. I'm asking those questions just leading into some of the loan officers that be watching this to kind of say, how do I get to, even it may not 100 million, but how can I go from 10 million to 30 million?
Yeah.
If you get into that range and you're really, you're starting to get to where you want to be as far as income wise. And so I've seen it. It's really interesting to watch how people grow at different levels, and as they understand how to build a team under them, to kind of how they structure themselves. So I like to hear how people go from where you were helping loan officers, then became one and kind of watched where they were making their mistakes and was able to say, I can do this better, and then started diving into coaching and then diving into building their systems, and then of course it's your drive and fire too, which you got.
Yeah. I think if there's anything, there were definitely like a few things that I tried to model in regards to prospecting and reaching out and just having certain things. Like the path of mastery is like you doing the best that you know how today, then doing it, reevaluating it, and continuing to get a little bit better. So my prospecting when I first started out, like there were a lot of short sales that had happened in like 2010, 2011, 2012. So I had a real estate agent that pulled short sales that were 3 or 4 years old. And so I would call these people and basically let them know that they qualified for a mortgage and that they would be able to qualify to purchase a home again. And man, like those were fun days. I had a minimum contact benchmark of 20 contacts a day, not 20 phone calls, 20 contacts a day, up to the most. And this was in the bold coaching where it was 100 contacts in one day, where I made probably without a dialer or anything else, just physically dialed probably 800 times, in order to get 100 people to pick up the phone. And those types of disciplines that you build in, like if I can do 100 contacts, then 20 contacts was done before 10 a.m. And, when you build that type of thing, it was like, it's so much activity that when you first start, that it takes to get one deal in. Yeah. And then, you start to gain a little bit of traction. And so I think that I would just I think I heard it said is like work and scrape and do whatever it takes to get $100,000. Like after that, it gets a lot easier. But like that first little bit, it's a grind. Like there's a lot of work, but you realizing, and I think part of it, you just have to keep this mentality that like somebody else did it, they can do it. It is going to be this grind. I have to embrace that. At the same time, you just got to earn it. You got to work through it, and having those disciplines, like I'm going to make X number of phone calls a day from now till whenever. And then there's going to be adjustments where you're going to learn, and you go like, hey, I'm not going to make that phone call anymore because I found this new thing that works so much better. Now I'm going to do this every single day. And just keep growing and improving. If you don't have people to talk to, there's always somebody to talk to, but I think if you don't have those specific lists or those targets, just maybe it's a certain number of real estate agents every single day you're going to have conversations with. Maybe it's a certain number of people in your past client or your past client database that you're going to talk with, and just create, probably make a goal that's like really uncomfortable for yourself as far as how much contact or activity, and then just figure out how to do it and realize that hey, if I can make 100 contacts in one day, Like it took me 7 hours and 41 minutes in order to do that. But I literally like went and did it really just to prove to myself that I could take this type of action. And honestly, like there wasn't a ton of business that I got out of it on that one day, but it's building those disciplines. It's building those habits of picking up the phone, getting over your call reluctance, and just going for it and realizing that your dreams are on the other side. So,
wow,
that was huge. I mean, that I hear that the discipline, sticking to a plan, sticking to what you got to do, and having a goal, having that big goal, and steps to get there. That's sorry, Jamie, I'm taking over here. I'll let you get your question. I just think it's interesting. You find when you have the opportunity to talk to someone that's kicking numbers like that, there's a lot of, like I see, in recruiting, I see a lot of loan officers that are anywhere from 5 to 10 million, and they're just in that plateau. So it's just nice to be able to talk to someone who's broke way through that. And it's how you get there. That's the big thing. Everybody wants to know how you get there. And you just said it, discipline. You got to focus, because I do know a lot of people burn a lot of time doing stuff that are total not green activities or money-making activities. They're red activities.
Yeah. I think you could be, I've talked to so many people, and I watched it, and I was it for a while, where you close 3 loans a month and you're busy working 3 loans a month. And now I'm like, we closed 33 loans last month. Like, and yeah, we're busy, but your time will be filled no matter what it is that you fill it with. The difference is what are you going to fill your time with? What are you going to use to fill your time with? And when you have those disciplines, when you say, hey, from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I'm going to call as many people as I can in this specific category. I'm going to have this specific conversation with them for an hour, and just go. You do that, day after day after day after day, and it just becomes the thing that you do. You'll see things that you've never seen before.
Sounds like going to the gym.
Go ahead, Jamie. Sorry, I talked over you.
That's okay. I said, it sounds like you're going to the gym every day. You work on a little bit every day, and you learn, you gain, you add a couple, more weights, and you just start, developing both a business or your body. But it really sounds like you've got that mentality worked out in your head of, I know what I want. I know how I'm going to get there. And if I don't know, I'm going to figure it out.
You got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you being with us today, Justice. It's so nice to finally meet you and chat with you a little bit. And Joe, I think that it was one of our best sessions so far. So thank you, Justice.
I appreciate that.
It's good stuff. Really good stuff. I mean, you brought a lot of knowledge to the table. And like I said, there's many loan officers out there. Like I said, I see them a lot. And this is a thing that we're doing here is we have some coaching platforms. We have tools. You just like you said, I have access to all the same tools that you do, and so my goals are to get to even other levels. And we all have like you're at 100 million, and you're still setting your goals up higher and out to the 2 billion mark. I mean, so you're at a level where some people want to be. So you could just say, I'm good here, but you continue to push yourself. And so those are the things to do when you look at yourself and say, where do you want to be? What kind of life do you want? And are you going to take the action to do it? And the beauty is we have a lot of the tools to do it. And so it's just a matter of you going and accessing them. And you're a testimony to it, because you're doing it. I mean, we're seeing it. And so it's good stuff. And like I said, I love what you're doing with giving back. That's huge. That's just something that just really plugs you into the community. It's something I believe in wholeheartedly. And I think that's and I know you said earlier, it's kind of like selfishly that you're doing it because you feel good about it, but yeah, it's not selfish really, because you're just giving out. I mean, you're looking at how can I give back to this community? It's given so much to me, and where you live, and you believe in your community. So that's very commendable. And I just say it myself one more time to you. And again, I appreciate you coming on, because I know you are a busy guy, and
I appreciate it. It was great having a conversation with you guys today, and love what you guys are doing. So fun to be a part of it. So thanks for having me out.
Definitely. So we're going to wrap it up, and this will be also on LinkedIn and YouTube if you want to come back and see it again. And because there's a lot of good snippets out there. And actually, I think I'll take some of the advice through and throw some of those out there for folks to see. Justice, hang on with us for a second here. We'll go ahead and let everybody go. Everybody get back to your day. Stay green, not red, if you've learned anything from this. And we'll talk to you guys later.